We've been watching Harry Potter. We've been watching The Wizarding World on Max. We watched the three Fantastic Beasts movies,
Correct.
and then we moved on to Harry Potter because
Correct.
that's what's next. And so we're at The Prisoner of Azkaban. I can't imagine that this is a spoiler alert for
If it
anyone
is too
at this
bad, you should have
point.
seen it. Too
Sorry.
bad.
If you haven't watched Harry Potter, go watch it.
Tough.
I am a fan. I love Harry Potter. Have the books and watch the movies.
Ridiculous.
And I've been a fan for quite some
Yeah.
time. So we're on The Prisoner of Azkaban, and it's excuse me, it's talking about we were talking about Peter Pettigrew, and he was Ron Weasley's rat
Yes.
in the movie.
Correct.
So then Dave and I are like we're watching it, and then we pause it because you brought up something. What was it?
Yes. So we were watching. Was it that? No, it wasn't. It wasn't the Prisoner of Azkaban. It was the one before it, wasn't it? No, it was the
No, it's
Prisoner.
a
So
Prisoner
in
of
the Prisoner
Azkaban.
of Azkaban, in the beginning, um, Harry takes the bus to the Leaky Cauldron, and he gets to the Leaky Cauldron. He meets the person, I forgot. I think it's what is it
The Minister
the
of
Minister of
Magic.
Magic. He meets him. They talk. Blah blah blah. They do their thing. He gets led to his room. He goes to his room, and he's in his room doing his thing, and then all of a sudden he hears Hermione and Ron. He hears their
Arguing.
voices. So he goes out of his room, and I think when he goes out of his room, he sees the rat go by and the cat, Hermione's cat. And he goes to, inspect what's going on, and he's starting to suspect that it's them, it's really them there. And he looks over the balcony and he sees them, and they see him, and they greet each other. And while this is happening, right before they saw him, Ron has his rat, Scabbers,
Yeah.
and Hermione's holding her cat. I don't know what the name of the cat is.
Crookshanks.
And he's telling her, like, what the hell, and she's like, well, it's a cat. It's in its nature to chase rats. That's what he does. I can't help it. It is what it is. So I brought up to her, you know, well, we were talking about that, and you told me, like, what if the cat was not chasing the rat because it was in its nature, but because it knew it was, who is the guy's name? Pumpernickel? What's his name?
Peter Pettigrew.
That the cat could sense that it's really that
It's
person.
not a rat, it's something else.
Yeah.
Not necessarily knowing that it's a human being as a rat, but
Yes.
that it's not a rat, and that's why it's chasing it, was my theory, instead of, so that's why it went so hard for the rat, because it knew that it wasn't
What
a
it
real
was.
rat, it was
Correct.
something else. And then my other theory was the spell. So in the first Harry Potter, the Sorcerer's Stone, in the beginning when they first meet, he has the rat in his lap, and they're sitting there eating all the junk food that Harry
Yes.
bought. And he tells them, he goes, "You want to see a spell?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "My brother taught me this spell." So he tries to turn the rat yellow. He does the spell, and it doesn't work, and that's when Hermione was like, "Yeah, let's see then, whatever." And she sees it, and she's like, "Whatever." And it makes it seem like Ron's spell didn't work, but my theory is, what if it did work on a real rat, but it didn't work on that one because he is Peter Pettigrew?
Correct.
That was my theory on that.
So it's interesting because you don't find out that this is the rat. What is his name? Scabber is really a person.
Yeah.
And I mentioned to her that when we were watching the Fantastic Beast, it's the third one, where at one point they talk about people who change into animals, and they can only do it so many times, and they can only stay like that for so long. And if they exceed
Before-
those
yeah.
two things, whether you do it too many times or you stay too long as that animal, you can't come back.
Yeah.
Somebody has to bring you back out of that form,
Yeah, and
basically.
that's why he was stuck as a rat.
Yes.
And that's why they had to change him back into Peter Pettigrew. That was what you were talking
Yeah.
about. But yeah, that was my theory on that. And then we talked about the other theory, which I thought was interesting. It was a theory that went around on TikTok about Hagrid, that he is actually a very powerful wizard, um, that Voldemort knew that he was a powerful wizard and took him out so that he wouldn't interfere, because he knew that he wouldn't be able to beat him. So when Hagrid, what was it, in the Chamber of Secrets? That's book 2, movie 2. In the Chamber of Secrets,
Yeah.
it shows that, the story is based on who opened the Chamber of Secrets, and they made it seem like it was Hagrid, and it wasn't Hagrid, it was Voldemort. But it showed how Hagrid got in trouble. He got expelled from Hogwarts. So what happens is that they take his wand and they snap it in half. But if you watch the movies and pay attention and think about this theory, you get to see that he's still using magic. He's not supposed to, but he does. He
Mm-hmm.
has his little wand and his umbrella until they clear his name, and then after that he can use magic. But he didn't go through the 7 years of Hogwarts
Yeah.
and learn all the things he should have learned. Everything he's learned, he's had to learn on his own, pretty much, or through Dumbledore.
And that's my thing. My theory is
Yeah.
that Dumbledore actually taught him how to do certain spells and how to do things. He doesn't have the full knowledge, but he has enough to do what he
No,
needs
yeah.
to do. And the
Absolutely.
reason I feel this way, the reason I feel that Dumbledore was onto it with him, and him having a actual wand in his umbrella,
Mm-hmm.
is because in Fantastic Beasts, he gives the baker a wand,
Yeah,
and he's not a magical person.
correct.
So if Dumbledore, what makes me to believe that Dumbledore wouldn't do that later on?
And then I want to go circle back to Dumbledore, and what you said. How did he see them?
Oh
So
yes,
they are
and that's in
in.
the third movie.
Is it the third movie?
No, it's the Little Secrets of.
Chamber of
Yeah.
Secrets. They're in Hagrid's hut. They are. Lucius Malfoy is there to take Hagrid
And the
to
minister.
Azkaban. Hold on, and the minister to take Hagrid to Azkaban, and also suspending Dumbledore at the same time
Mm-hmm.
from Hogwarts, because we all know Lucius Malfoy is a real piece, and so him and Ron are under the invisibility cloak, and Hagrid knows they're there because he told him to get in the cloak, or
Yeah, to
under the
cover
cloak.
yourself back up.
But Dumbledore, he wasn't there, and he came in and he knew they were there. How did he know they were there?
From the moment he walked into
Mm-hmm.
Hagrid's house, she was like, "Oh, look at these dudes," but didn't say anything, didn't lead on to anything, didn't even let Hagrid know that
Yeah.
he knows that they're there,
Yeah.
and then proceeds to, after they have their monologues, their discussion of what's going to happen, what they're going to do to Hagrid, proceeds to go to Harry and Ron to give them a little, pro tip.
Like, there's always help at Hogwarts if you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And turns around and walks
So is
out.
it the half moon glasses that help him see?
Yeah.
Or is it because he had all, like, he's just that great of a wizard? Other thing is,
I think it's the glasses.
Okay,
I
so-
think he's got the glasses are magical and they allow things that are invisible to be seen through those glasses.
I also found it very interesting that he had all three things from the Deathly Hollows. He had, and I believe he's the one that gave Harry the invisibility cloak.
Mm-hmm.
He also had the wand,
Yeah, yeah,
and he had the stone
yeah.
in the snitch.
Hmm.
And he gave this, when he died, he gave the snitch to Harry, and the stone was inside of it. And I
So,
find it, hold on, I find it very interesting. He had all three things,
hmm,
and that I know of from based off of these books, he didn't abuse those powers.
hmm.
I want to say I'm pretty sure because he did use the wand as his.
Well,
It was the elder wand.
well, again, remember what they say about wands. Wands choose the
That's
owner,
true.
and
You have
any
to
and
take it from that
yeah,
person.
if you take someone's wand in a duel, the wand becomes yours. So either the wand he found the wand and it chose him,
Yeah.
or he took it from the previous person.
That's my favorite story, the three brothers, the story
Yeah.
of the three brothers.
Now I'm gonna circle back to the
Hmm.
cloak. If Dumbledore gave Harry the cloak, then it would only make sense for his glasses to be enchanted to see what's cloaked
Yeah,
because he would
that
have
makes
it.
sense. Because he knows. So
Hmm.
now he knows he has to look for Harry, and he already knows that Harry needs special attention,
Hmm.
even though it was it was pretty crappy at the end when they show Snape talking
Hmm.
to Dumbledore, and he's like, "What's in it for me?"
Hmm.
Like, he didn't give a fuck about Harry. He was not trying to help. He was just like, and throughout the whole series, of course, they make Snape look like the bad guy, but throughout the whole series, you love Dumbledore. They make you love him throughout the whole thing, and when it gets to the end, it's soul crushing, him not really caring about Harry that way,
Hmm.
and him basically doing it for something and not because he actually wanted to.
Hmm.
So today, well, not today, when we watched the first one the other day, I looked at him in a different light, because, and I didn't, because I've seen it over and over again, but I don't know why. I guess because I read the book.
Probably
I
so.
don't know, because I read the books
Well, because remember
recently.
we were stopping. I was stopping the movie to ask you certain questions because
No, no, no.
I know
But
it's a pretty close adaptation from the
no,
books,
I get that.
but they had to leave certain things out.
No, that's not even it, though. That's not what I'm talking about. It's just that because I read the books recently.
Oh, okay,
That's why. I read
got
the
it.
books recently, and then we were done with Star Wars,
Hmm.
and our next series was going to be Harry Potter, and we watched the Fantastic Beast movies, and then we went
Yeah.
into it. And when we watched that first Harry Potter, and I watched him knowing, even though like I said, I've seen it over and over again, it's just, I see him in a different light now. He's just a real piece of shit. He's a real piece of shit. I mean, he still does take care of him. He gives him advice and all of that.
He has
But
ulterior motives.
but it also, it's an eye opener for Harry, because he admired this man, and in reality this man didn't care about him, and it was the guy who he thought hated him, and he didn't.
Hmm.
He loved him. He loved him and wanted to make sure that the love of his life, son, made it basically to adulthood. Like,
To where
he
he can
wanted
protect
him
himself.
to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very interesting
It
where she
was,
went with the story,
what is
but
it? It's misdirection.
yeah, it was very good, but it was also like so eye-opening, and I loved it because I love the whole series, because you grow with the character,
Hmm.
and as time goes on and each book, it just gets darker and darker and darker, and I thought it was very well written.
Yeah. And well, that's what I was also saying about the Fantastic Beast movies was I feel the Harry Potter movies from the beginning they give you an emotional connection to the characters,
Yeah.
where I feel like the Fantastic Beast movies, you don't have that emotional connection. You're not really, you're watching them because of the world that's built around them because of Harry Potter,
Yeah.
but the characters are kind of meh, eh. It's cool. They have some cool things. They do
Yeah.
some cool stuff, but you're not connected to them.
I hear you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the fact that this person, she created
Hmm.
an entire world based on witches and wizards, and it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, and it's a very good story. I love me a good story, and that's a great story to me. The boy that lived, and
Hmm.
everything that he went through up until the end. And I like the little stories that she created, like
The side stories inside of
yeah,
them.
and that's why I told you the three brothers. That's my favorite.